July 27th, 1973, a day that should have been filled with excitement, music, and love. But instead, it became a day shrouded in mystery and heartache. Two young lives, full of promise, vanished without a trace, leaving behind questions that have haunted their families for 50 years. Bonnie and Mitchel shared the kind of love that felt invincible, the kind that makes young hearts believe they can conquer anything together. They referred to each other as husband and wife, exchanging rings as symbols of their commitment. Despite their youth, their bond was deep, filled with the passion and intensity that only young love can bring. They were inseparable, eager to explore the world side by side, and in their eyes, nothing could stand in their way. But the innocence and optimism of young love can also be fragile, and sometimes the world has a way of testing even the strongest bonds. Bonnie Bickwit, just 15 years old, and her boyfriend, Mitchel Weiser, 16, were students at John Dewey High, a school for intellectually gifted students in Brooklyn. They were young, smart, and deeply in love. Mitchel Weiser was a thoughtful and intelligent young man whose gentle demeanor and love of music made him stand out among his peers. Known for his inquisitive nature, Mitchel was deeply passionate about photography, capturing the world around him through the lens of his camera. He also had a strong affection for baseball, but it was music that truly resonated with him, providing both solace and inspiration. His love for music was more than just a hobby, it was a vital part of who he was, fueling his desire to attend the Summer Jam Music Festival, where he hoped to immerse himself in the vibrant energy of live performances. Mitchel's original plan for the Summer Jam Music Festival was far simpler. He was supposed to go with his friend Larry, a trip they had been eagerly anticipating. But when Larry's mother put her foot down and refused to let him attend, Mitchel found himself without a travel companion. Instead of abandoning the trip, he turned to Bonnie, his girlfriend, and asked her to join him on this adventure. Bonnie Bickwit was a sweet and highly intelligent young woman, known for her sharp mind and warm personality. With long brown hair and a freckled face, she had a natural charm that drew people to her. Bonnie had been a well-met camper for several years, a place where she thrived and eventually took on a summer job. Her intelligence was evident from a young age, as she consistently placed in classes for intellectually gifted students. But Bonnie wasn't just book smart, she was also strong-willed and determined, unafraid to stand up for what she believed in. This blend of kindness, intellect, and determination made her a remarkable person, one who left a lasting impression on everyone who knew her. Despite his mother's pleading and her own sense of foreboding, Mitchel was determined. Nothing was going to stop him from experiencing the music and excitement of Watkins Glen. Mitchel's determination, however, came with its challenges. He left Brooklyn with only $25 in his pocket, knowing it wouldn't be enough for the journey. When he reached Narrowsburg, where Bonnie was working at a summer camp, he had already spent all his money. He called his sister that night, admitting he was broke, but even she couldn't convince him to reconsider. Bonnie, too, faced a tough decision. Unable to get time off from her job, she quit on the spot, borrowing a sleeping bag and preparing to hitchhike with Mitchel. With no more than $80 between them, they set off on what was supposed to be a thrilling weekend. Little did they know, it would be their last. When Mitchel arrived at Bonnie's summer camp in Narrowsburg, it was nearly midnight, and his visit was as spontaneous as it was determined. He had traveled from Brooklyn with only $25, catching a bus and then a cab to reach Bonnie, spending all his money in the process. Despite the late hour and his empty pockets, Mitchel was focused on one goal: getting to the Summer Jam Music Festival with Bonnie, who had been working at the camp for the summer. Faced a tough decision when Mitchel arrived. She knew she couldn't get time off, but the thought of missing the festival with him was unbearable. With her strong-willed nature, Bonnie decided to quit on the spot, leaving behind her job and the responsibilities that came with it. She borrowed a sleeping bag from the camp, promising her boss she'd return on Monday to pick up her final paycheck. Early the next morning, Bonnie and Mitchel prepared for their journey. They had no car, only their backpacks, a couple of sleeping bags, and about $80 between them. Undeterred, Bonnie drew a sign that read "to Watkins Glen," hoping it would help them catch a ride. The roads near the camp were often traveled by buses and vans, and hitchhiking seemed like the best option for the adventurous couple. Together, they set off down the road, their hearts full of excitement and anticipation for the festival ahead. They were young, in love, and ready to take on whatever came their way, unaware that this would be the last time anyone would see them. As the years have passed, countless theories have emerged, each attempting to unravel the mystery of what really happened to Bonnie and Mitchel. Did they fall victim to a tragic accident? Or was there something more sinister at play? From credible witnesses to chilling speculations, these theories range from plausible to bizarre. Some suggest they never made it to the festival, while others believe they met with foul play along the way. As we dive into the possible explanations, each theory brings its own set of clues and more haunting questions. One prevailing theory is that Bonnie and Mitchel ran away together, driven by their desire to escape the constraints of their everyday lives. Bonnie, feeling stifled by her summer job and longing for freedom, snuck home just before their planned departure to grab the $80 she had been saving up. Her impulsive decision to leave her job and join Mitchel on this adventure might have been a way to seize a fleeting sense of independence and excitement. Both Bonnie and Mitchel came from religious Jewish families, which might have placed pressure on them to adhere to certain expectations. Mitchel was particularly disheartened by the prospect of staying local for college due to financial constraints, while Bonnie was feeling the weight of her father's severe illness and her dissatisfaction with her job. Their exchange of wedding rings and their declarations of love suggest a deep commitment to each other, perhaps as a way to affirm their bond amidst these pressures. Adding to this theory is a letter Bonnie's family received after her disappearance. Written prior to the trip, the letter expressed Bonnie's yearning for the freedom she enjoyed at camp and her desire to experience that same independence at home. She spoke of wanting to come and go as she pleased, hinting at a desire for more control over her own life. However, there are several contradictions to the runaway theory. Bonnie's decision to leave her job without picking up her final paycheck and the couple's limited funds, only $80 between them, suggests they might not have planned an extended escape. Additionally, despite their intense love, both Bonnie and Mitchel were close to their families, who were not overtly troubled by their relationship, though they were unaware of the wedding rings. This nuanced affection for their families and the practical limitations of their resources raise questions about whether a planned runaway scenario truly fits their circumstances. Another theory that has emerged is the drowning theory, which suggests that Bonnie and Mitchel met a tragic end when they were swept away by a river. According to Alan Smith, an ex-Navy man who came forward years after their disappearance, the couple had hitchhiked with him in a VW bus. Smith claimed that while they were traveling, they stopped at a river to swim, and it was here that the tragedy struck. Smith recounted, "I heard them talking about the girls' camp, but I never got their names. It was a hot day, and we decided to take a swim in the river. Bonnie started screaming, saying she was being pulled under. Mitchel jumped in to save her, but they were both swept away." He added that the bus driver promised to call the police from the next gas station, but no call was ever made. This account paints a vivid and heartbreaking picture of the couple's final moments, suggesting that they might have succumbed to the powerful currents of the river. However, there are significant issues with the drowning theory. First and foremost, Smith's story contains several inconsistencies. He was unable to provide accurate descriptions of what Bonnie and Mitchel were wearing, and he couldn't identify them in photographs. Moreover, the bus driver, who was supposedly the one to report the incident, was never found. This raises questions about the credibility of Smith's account. If the drowning had truly occurred as described, there would likely be more evidence or witness accounts to corroborate his story. Additionally, the lack of any personal belongings being found also contradicts the drowning theory. The absence of their clothing, bags, and other items cast doubt on whether they were indeed swept away in the river as Smith claimed. Overall, while the drowning theory provides a dramatic and tragic explanation, the inconsistencies and lack of concrete evidence make it a less convincing account of Bonnie and Mitchel's disappearance. Another theory surrounding Bonnie and Mitchel's disappearance is that they might have run away or even taken their own lives due to the pressures and challenges they faced. Both Bonnie and Mitchel were dealing with significant personal issues that could have contributed to their decision to vanish. Bonnie's life was said to have been normal, but still, like everyone, she had struggles. She had frequent crying fits, deeply affected by her beloved father's severe illness. Additionally, Bonnie felt exploited and unhappy in her summer job, which may have compounded her sense of frustration and desire for escape. This feeling of being trapped was evident in a letter her family received 3 days after her disappearance. Written just days before she vanished, Bonnie's letter expressed her yearning for the freedom she enjoyed at camp and her desire to have the same independence at home. She spoke about wanting to come and go as she pleased, revealing a deep dissatisfaction with her current circumstances. Mitchel, too, had his own struggles. Although he was a gifted student, he was disheartened by the financial limitations that prevented him from attending an out-of-state college. This frustration, coupled with the emotional strain of leaving his high school life behind, could have contributed to his decision to run away with Bonnie. Their young love was intense and profound, perhaps providing them with a sense of solace and purpose. Years after their disappearance, an intriguing but unconfirmed event occurred. Mitchell's father received a collect call from someone claiming to be Bonnie. When he excitedly accepted the call, the person on the other end hung up. Mitchell's father speculated that his enthusiastic response might have startled Bonnie, but the true identity of the caller remains unknown. Despite these emotional and financial pressures, Mitchell's sister believed that their problems were typical of teenage struggles and not sufficient reasons for such a drastic action. The complexity of their issues, combined with their deep love for each other, adds a layer of tragic possibility to their disappearance, whether they ran away to escape their problems or faced a more tragic end. The final theory explores the possibility of foul play in Bonnie and Mitchell's disappearance. Given their young age, vulnerability, and the fact that they were hitchhiking with only a small amount of money, they were in a particularly precarious situation. Bonnie, at just 4'11" and under 100 pounds, was notably small and could have been perceived as particularly vulnerable. This raises the possibility that someone might have mistaken her for being younger or more defenseless and attempted to exploit or attack her, with Mitchell stepping in to protect her. Mitchell's sister has shed light on his protective nature, noting Mitchell was always looking out for Bonnie, making sure she was safe and happy. He wouldn't have hesitated to step in if someone tried to harm her. This sense of protection could have put him in a dangerous situation if someone with ill intentions targeted them while they were hitchhiking. However, there is a significant lack of evidence supporting this theory. There have been no confirmed sightings, no physical evidence such as blood or personal belongings, and not even a suspect. The absence of any traceable evidence makes it extremely challenging to solve this case. Adding to the complexity is the fact that it's unknown whether Bonnie and Mitchell even reached Watkins Glen. Without knowing their exact location or circumstances of their abduction or murder, there are no clear leads on where, when, or by whom they might have been targeted. This void of information leaves a dark cloud over the investigation, making it one of the most perplexing and tragic disappearances of its time. It's been 50 years since that summer weekend in 1973, and still, the questions linger. What happened to Bonnie Bickwit and Mitchell Weiser? Did they fall victim to a tragic accident, or did something more sinister take place? Their families continue to search for answers, hoping that one day, the truth will finally come to light. The river that allegedly took their lives remains as silent as the mystery surrounding their disappearance. Were they really swept away, or is there another, darker explanation? Thank you for joining us as we delve into the mysterious disappearance of Bonnie Bickwit and Mitchell Weiser. Your support and interest mean a lot to us as we continue to explore these captivating and unresolved cases. Be sure to tune in next week for our deep dive into the Casey Anthony case, a detailed investigation you won't want to miss. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for new videos every week, bringing you more in-depth stories and analyses. We'd love to hear your thoughts on what you believe most likely happened to Bonnie and Mitchell. Please leave your comments below and share your theories with us. Until next time, stay curious and keep questioning.